Well, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and showcase to you some iOS 16 settings that you should actually go ahead and change on really any iPhone that is supported with iOS 16. Now, luckily for you, this is pretty easy. So, the first thing I want to go ahead and showcase to you guys is actually changing the voice within Siri. So, within Siri, most of you know if you go and hold down the power button here, you can go ahead and enable Siri, which we'll go ahead and enable. You can go ahead and change the actual voice when you actually set it up the first time, but some people may forget to go ahead and set it up and change it. So to go ahead and change your voice, what you want to do is you want to scroll down from your settings until you see Siri and search, which is typically right up here. I always skip it. You want to go and click on it. And right in here, when you get into this option, you want to go and see this little Siri voice option. All you want to do is go and click on Siri voice. And not only do we have the native voices that we had before, but we can also change the voices from up here. So we can change it from American to Australian to British to Indian to Irish to South African. You can also choose different voices within here too. So that is something that's really cool. I would probably recommend you all to go ahead and at least take a look and figure out which specific voices you want to go ahead and change. Now, after this, the another cool little thing within iOS 16 that some of you may already know is turning on light mode or dark mode. Now, when you first boot up, iOS 16, you may know this, you may not know this, but dark mode has been existing, I think, since iOS 13. So if you want to go ahead and disable dark mode or turn on light mode or vice versa, what you want to do here is you want to make your way over to your settings. You want to scroll down into display and brightness, which is right here. And you want to go ahead and change from light mode to dark mode right here. You can also go vice versa, like I mentioned, if you want to go from dark mode to light mode, you have that option here. I will say dark mode and light mode are pretty much exactly what they used to be, so there really hasn't been any changes within iOS 16 as far as I can tell. So that's probably another thing I'd recommend looking at. Now, within iOS 16, we also still have the ability of turning on 5G or turning off 5G. So to do this, what you want to do is you want to make your way over to your cellular connection up here. Now you have the ability of setting up eSIM. I don't have a SIM card in here, but you should have the ability within your little mobile network option to go ahead and disable 5G, and that's probably something I would also recommend you to do. Disabling 5G is a really easy thing to do, and I'd probably recommend doing it for the time being. Now, on top of that, another cool thing that we actually have the ability of doing is setting up default mail apps or default web browsers. Now, some of you may already have forgotten that we have the ability of doing this, but for example, if we go ahead and use the Chrome application, so if we go ahead and download it, it's very easy to download, it's not really too big. Essentially, we have the ability of setting up a default web browser or a default mail app. So let's say we had Chrome fully downloaded. Like I said, it may take a second or two. Well, once we have it fully downloaded, what we can do is we can go ahead and make our way over to our settings application and choose a specific app, and we can go ahead and set this as our default browser. So here, let's go and see if it's enabled. So we can make our way over to settings. We can scroll down until we find Chrome. So I don't know if it's already going to be here or not. As you can see, it's not here yet. So we'll just have to wait until it's fully downloaded. So once it's fully downloaded, we can go and open it up. I can go and accept and continue. Once we go ahead and have the web browser fully set up, all we have to do here is hop out of here. We can go and make our way over to our settings application like I mentioned. Scroll down, you can see Chrome right here. And there's a little default option where it says default browser app. We can go ahead and click on this and we can go and specify whether we want to keep it as Safari or we want to change it to Chrome. So we have the ability of doing this, I think, since iOS 14, but now we have the ability now within iOS 16 to also do this too, which is so cool. Now, another really, really crucial feature I would recommend you guys to do, all of you, is to turn off live photos within iOS 16. This is by far probably one of the most annoying things I probably ever seen. There's only one really good reason to do this, and that's with you doing a live wallpaper. Other than that, I would probably recommend disabling it. So to do this, what you want to do is you want to make your way over to your settings application, scroll down until you find camera, which I always skip wherever it is. And under preserve settings, you want to go and click on preserve settings. And all you want to do here is where it says live photo, you want to make sure this is enabled. Now at this point, you want to make your way over to your camera application. And then you want to go ahead in the top right corner, you want to go ahead and disable live photos right there. And what will happen is it'll go ahead and disable live photos. So it'll no longer keep popping up, it'll pretty much stop doing the live photos thing, which I find really, really annoying. And that'll be disabled natively within iOS 16 too. Now, on top of that, some other things I'd recommend doing specifically within iOS 16 is with the lock screen. So I would probably recommend, if you have the ability to not have too many lock screens just showing up out of nowhere. So let's say I make a new lock screen. This is so cool. Okay, I add a little widget here. This is so awesome, right? The problem with having a ton of lock screens like this, like let's say I do this one and then I do another one. So I click add. The problem with adding too many lock screens is that they do suck up a little bit of battery life. Now, it's not the end of the world. I'm assuming each one doesn't take up like a lot, but over time, if you have a lot of different widgets and styles set up, it can cause a lot of issues over time where randomly you can have a lot of battery, kind of life depleted if you have a ton of these just laying in the background. Now, not only are these specific widgets, not only are these specific wallpapers and lock screens taking up a little bit of battery life because of the amount of, just the different wallpapers and everything in the background, but also when you look at it, they're having little widgets as well. So what I would recommend doing is deleting any lock screens that you're not using, and it's actually very easy to go ahead and delete them. So what I'd recommend doing is going through, holding down on the specific lock screen that you're okay with deleting. You can see we have the little delete wallpaper option at the bottom. Now this will not only delete the wallpaper, but it will also delete the little background and the whole entire widgets on this specific thing as well. So we can go and click delete wallpaper, and you can see it'll pretty much just go away. So you can hold down on this one too, click delete wallpaper, and it'll go ahead and delete those. Now you can see that we no longer have those two laying around. You can still add them by clicking on the little add thing right there, and you can customize your lock screen this way, but I would recommend going ahead and deleting those. That's probably the next thing I'd recommend doing. On top of that, with your lock screen, as I've mentioned before in previous versions of iOS, deleting as many widgets as possible is probably the best thing you can go ahead and do. Personally, whenever I had a ton of widgets laying around, it's just one of those things that I just go ahead and just remove them because they do suck up a little better battery life. So in this case with this one, I can go and hold down on this specific widget. I can go and click remove widget, and that's it. It'll go ahead and be removed, and each individual widget that you remove will go ahead and add a little bit of battery life, or it'll suck up a little bit less battery life. That's probably the best way to put it. Now finally, with this recording toggle and with all the toggles within Control Center of iOS 16, I would go ahead and recommend you to customize it as thoroughly as possible. So to do this, what you want to do is you want to make your way over to your settings application. You'll come into this panel, and when you come here, all you want to do is scroll down until you see Control Center. So you'll see Control Center right here. You will go and click on it, and here you'll see a ton of different pop-ups come up. Now right down here is where you'll see a bunch of different things, some exclusive to iOS 16, some not so much. I think music recognition may be a new one, but there are tons of different Control Center widgets that you can add. Specifically, the one I would recommend adding is the screen recording one. If you want to go ahead and screen record everything around you, or screen record your specific display whenever you're doing anything, what you want to do is click screen record, and you'll see that widget is now added there. Now when you scroll down from the top right corner, you'll see this new little widget added. So this is an example of one of the widgets. There's tons of different ones down here. You can see the screen, you can see like the music recognition one. If we click here, scroll down, you'll see music recognition added. So what we can do here is hold down on these specific widgets to get a little bit more detail from them, even this one I think. And what we can do here is go and click on here for the screen recording one, and it'll start screen recording the display. So now whatever we're doing, it's screen recording. We don't have to go and do anything crazy. Whenever we're done, we can click on the top right left corner, and it'll go ahead and stop the screen recording, and it'll go ahead and save it in our Photos application. So you can pretty much see that screen recording there. So those are a few different iOS 16 settings I would go ahead and recommend turning on or off depending on your use case. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.